I'd like to thank my colleague from Georgia, Barry Loudermilk, for the leadership that he has shown in putting this event together, where we on the House floor can try to help explain to the American people what is at stake here with the President's executive amnesty. Mr. Speaker, in that vein, I rise to speak in opposition to President Obama's illegal and unconstitutional executive amnesty for illegal aliens. Why? Because I was elected by Americans to represent Americans in Washington, D.C. While clearly protecting the United States Constitution is the #1 reason to fight President Obama's illegal and unconstitutional conduct, a close second reason is the economic welfare of American families searching for jobs that will empower them to take care of their own families. In that vein, a report by the Center for Immigration Studies is very instructive. Now, the Center for Immigration Studies did a report based on federal government data. It was collected from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Census Bureau. And this is what they found. From the first quarter of the year 2000 to the first quarter of the year 2014, a 14-year period, with respect to people who are in America that are ages 16 to 65, and I'll repeat that, ages 16 to 65, which is far and away the largest block by age of working Americans. The American economy for that 16 to 65 age group created 5.6 million net new jobs. Some would say that's pretty good. 5.6 million net new jobs. But do you know how many of those jobs went to American-born citizens? Do you know the answer to that question? Well, I would submit to you that every American citizen should, and they ought to be outraged by the answer. Of those 5.6 million net jobs created over a 14-year period in the United States of America for people ages 16 to 65, American-born citizens had a net loss of 127,000 jobs. And you wonder why the polling data shows that Americans still believe they're in a recession. The answer is American-born citizens are still in a recession. Well, who got those jobs? Well, according to the Center for Immigration Studies report, 5.7 net job gains were by two groups: illegal aliens plus lawful immigrants. So look at the priorities of our federal government over the last 14 years. Look at the priorities established by President Obama's executive amnesty. The priorities do not lie with American citizens. Rather, they lie with people of all kinds other than American citizens. Now, we had 127,000 net job losses, but that doesn't really tell the whole picture. We also had population growth in the 16 to 65 age bracket for American-born citizens during that 14-year period of time. So do you know how many more Americans are unemployed today, jobless, in the 16 to 65 age bracket because of America's faulty, porous, like a sieve immigration policies? 17 million. And you wonder why our youth are despondent? You wonder why they're depressed with the job circumstances they face? You wonder why American families cannot earn a living with the wages that are now being paid? It's because there are so many people in the White House, on K Street, and other places that are lobbying the United States Congress to dramatically increase the labor supply by bringing in illegal aliens and lawful immigrants to suppress wages and to take jobs from American families. That's wrong. Now, you've heard the argument often raised, well, Americans won't do those jobs. Let me tell you about those jobs for a moment. We've got two categories, illegal aliens and lawful immigrants. While you can make the argument that illegal aliens are seeking the blue-collar jobs and that perhaps Americans won't do them at the suppressed wages now being paid, with respect to lawful immigrants, it's a different picture. Over those 14 years, in that 16 to 65 age bracket, American-born citizens lost jobs while lawful immigrants gained jobs in these fields: engineering, architecture, healthcare, sales, office staff. Those are good-paying jobs that when I was growing up, American citizens used to be able to compete for and get, but which are now being denied because of our immigration policies. Those are sobering numbers. Those are startling numbers. So sobering, so depressing that I challenged my staff. I said, this report can't be right. So my congressional staff went to the raw data from the Census Bureau, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the Department of Homeland Security, and they confirmed that the Center for Immigration Studies data was correct. Which brings us back to President Obama's executive amnesty that does so much damage to American citizens. The House has done its job. We have passed legislation to defund executive amnesty to prevent the president from doing what he's been doing. The problem, as it's been the last 4 years that I've been in the United States Congress, and hopefully won't be the case for the next 2 years, lies with the United States Senate. Media reports say that we are at an impasse, that the Democrats are standing with illegal aliens and shunning American families and filibustering. And the Republican leadership is professing we don't have the firepower, we don't have the 60 votes, that we're stymied, we can't end this filibuster. Well, Mr. Speaker, there's another option. Let's think back for a moment, and let's look at Harry Reid when he was Senate Majority Leader and the power that he wielded. And what did he do? He said, I'm not going to let the filibuster stop me from achieving my political goals. And he exercised the nuclear option. And now, under Harry Reid, you did not need 60 votes for appointments of Barack Obama-submitted appointees. Rather, a mere majority would work. Well, if Harry Reid and majority, the Democrats can do that, if they can stand up for their beliefs, however wrong those beliefs may be, then where is our Republican Senate leadership? And why aren't they doing the same thing? We have 54 Republican senators. Mitch McConnell, last time I checked, is the Senate Republican Majority Leader. All of our senators have said they object to executive amnesty. Why don't they do the same thing in respect to bills that we have to pass to prevent government shutdowns? Bills dealing with spending matters say only 51 votes is needed. No longer can a minority with a filibuster shut down the United States government. And so with that, Mr. Speaker, I would submit that it's time for the United States Senate to change their rules to reflect the will of the American people. And certainly if those rules can be changed for mere appointments by a president, they can also be changed to protect the United States Constitution and the separation of powers. Mr. Speaker, I can't speak for any senators or, for that matter, any other elected officials in Washington, D.C. But I can speak for me, and I can speak for the people of the Tennessee Valley of the state of Alabama. I vote to put the jobs and wage interest of struggling American families over the interest of illegal aliens. I encourage all senators of both parties to do the same. Respect the wishes of the American people, act on behalf of the American people, and if you do that, America will continue to prosper, and the rule of law in America will continue to prevail. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
I thank